Thank you, Ben, for joining us today in this live cast to the Infiniverse community and everybody out there watching. VetX is really excited to be able to talk a little bit more with you, both because of our recently signed agreement as partners, and also about the amazing tool that you're going to show us today. So with no further ado, Ben, you want to just tell everybody out here a little bit more about you and about your company, kind of an introduction for us.
Yeah, no, thank you very much, Jay. And hi, everyone. My name's Ben. I'm CEO of Facilitate. We're an Australian-based company. We're focused on really trying to democratize VR learning. And the way that we've gone about that really is creating a platform that has very easy to use tools, very scalable distribution and management functionality. And yeah, we're really excited to have this partnership with VetX and nope, Gesundheit.
Oh, sorry, buddy.
Yeah. So that's a very quick introduction. I guess probably going through and showing you how Facilitate works and what it's capable of is probably the best way to actually go and describe the platform capabilities.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to jump there just a minute. I have just a couple of questions for you. You know, since you guys have been working on your platform and all of that, tell me a few things about, what got you excited about building what you have for educators.
Mm-hmm. Well, as a business, we got started in 2016, and we basically did a lot of R&D, research and development around how to use VR for learning, the knowledge retention, skills development. And one thing we found over a couple of years time, so by 2018, we're getting a lot of interest from organizations in this technology. So we were showing proof of concepts type materials, going and talking to all types of educators and learning development people. And we're hearing more and more this interest, but people going, well, we can't afford to go to a development agency. It's too cost prohibitive. And
it is.
And so we started to work with some of these educators and learning designers about, well, maybe we could actually build a platform that could enable them and empower them to take more creative control over their VR learning. And actually give them an opportunity to introduce it into their organizations that would otherwise face that cost and inflexibility barrier that they typically face at development agencies. So that's really how we got started building out Facilitate. And the products had 2 or 3 different prototype versions, and really over time just developed more and more. And we love to get feedback. Especially the bad feedback, because it tells us, what could we do better, and what capabilities do we currently not have that are important to our customers and users. So it's a continually evolving piece, I guess.
And I think a big question that I get asked a lot is another piece of technology, right? Especially after COVID and the virtual push and everything. Another piece of technology. How is this technology, virtual reality learning, different from, other technologies such as the smart board that schools were told they had to install?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I mean, VR, it has a number of unique attributes, I think. In a way, by its pure nature of capturing someone's full attention, their eyes and their ears belong to the headset when they have a device on. It really sets it apart from everything else. One of the core problems that, say, educators have faced, forever has been engagement, actually capturing students' focus and their attention. With VR, you sort of instantly do that, obviously, but then that leads to not just, I guess, more students being engaged in the content, but then it also a broader range of students actually learning the content and retaining it, because the technology, it's more in line with how we as a species, I guess, have learned what we've developed to learn. You know, we
Yeah,
learn through experiences, like capturing our attention, our emotions, and interactivity as well is another big part of that.
absolutely.
So
Absolutely. It's, you know, I've told educators, look, think about it, this is all about just transfer of information from generation to generation, all the way back before around the campfire, which is funny because now you have a virtual reality campfire that you'll see here soon. But from the campfire, people were telling stories. And then we started with writing. And people had to learn writing and reading. And then that was the major transfer of information. There was lectures, but you had to read to go with the lectures. And I'm not saying you don't have to read anymore, but what we've done is we've actually taken the environments that people learn in actively and gone forward in sort of a learning evolution where now you have reading, you have the writing, you have some lectures, but why lecture if you can lecture and do? I mean, they always say the best way to learn is to teach. So now we've literally facilitated a way for teachers to become a part of the learning experience themselves inside of these environments that they're going to create. So I think on that note, I'm going to turn it over to you to kind of show us a little bit about Facilitate and how that works.
Okay, yeah, no, that sounds great. So I'll just share my screen, and the first thing that I'll show you is I guess it's the back end. It's what we call the portal. This is where educators, administrators can actually go in and create content, upload content, edit content. They can then go and combine different bits of content together into what we call an experience, a learning experience, which, you know, basically is like a lesson plan, and that's done in the experience section there. And then there's a range of administrative functions that they can use, like scheduling, data review after sessions, account management. So I'll just very quickly run through at a high level.
So as a teacher, educator, once my school, or maybe my class, if I've gotten a grant or funding, once I have talked to VetX, got it all Facilitate signed up, and the licenses issued for my school, this is my back end area where I begin my building experience.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yep. So then this connects with the actual learning apps themselves, which can be accessed via desktop computer or the headsets themselves. So you're basically setting things up, doing the administration here, and then doing the actual learning in those apps. So I won't go into a huge level of detail, but just to give a very high level overview, this is just my demonstration account. You can see there's a range of administrative things that we have control over here, from white labeling is an option there. You can actually have different organizations sharing content as well amongst each other. There's a range of...
I'm going to ask you a question here, because sometimes this happens at a district level, but then a district might have multiple high schools. So a district could actually purchase the larger umbrella here, and then each high school can have their own account of content underneath that district level. So that's where the white label comes in for those of you watching that might, where would that work? And I would say definitely would work in a state, even a state, like if a state level said, look, I want every high school in my state, because I believe in education, I believe in virtual reality, and I want this content to be created now for my state and for learning. A state could literally sign up Department of Education and then have every high school underneath here, and they could share content within the state. That would be an amazing project for one of the U.S. states to take on. So if you're listening, educators, talk to your state office.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And then each organization also has different account levels. So you have an account owner, and then there's administrators, and then there's creators, creator level. They also can do live facilitations. There's typically be the teachers, and then there's the learners as well.
Great.
You can also actually create groups within in an account as well. So that might be by subject, by year group, by class, and you can really structure your account however you like. There, under the My Profile as well, you can do things such as create your own avatar. So yeah, there's really quite a lot of customization, but we tried to keep the administrative side as clean and user-friendly as possible. So I'll quickly just dive into these 4 elements here. So in the library, this is really the range of content that can be used within Facilitate. So what we call standard content, these are essentially assets that might be used in a physical classroom. So things like slide decks, 2D videos, 2D images, audio files. And the main use cases for these are if you have remote learners, you can obviously put them together into a virtual classroom and facilitate a lesson regardless of where people are.
Yeah.
And the other reason to use these materials is you might use them as a preliminary content. So it might have some introductory information through 1 or 2 slides or a video that just basically explains something before going into the more immersive content. Because one of the benefits of Facilitate is that you can actually create a pedagogically rich experience for the student. So it's not just about a 1 360 video or 1 micro simulation, but it's a combination of the different modalities, because each have their own benefits, each have their own weaknesses, but the combination can be very powerful. So in the immersive content options, you can bring in raw 360 videos, 360 images. We have what we call interactive 360s, which, as I'll show you in the demonstration in a minute, allows you to have hotspots where that you're clicking on. So you might have more context to a 360 video or image, or you could even connect different assets together for, say, a tour of a site, maybe a historical site, or somewhere on the other side of the world that students would never actually get to experience.
Yeah. Now I know when we talked a while ago, your content, like when a school or district starts, they fill up their content. Do you have any content now that comes with the library or the subscription available to educators right away?
The main premise behind the platform is to empower the creators, essentially. Yep. So we have some demonstration assets, but it's not a content-rich platform in that sense. So we do have some partners who can create content as well.
And if you sign up with VetX and Facilitate 360 assets, we can help design and build those for you too. If you want a 3D asset of a tractor or a heavy equipment or those things.
No, that's exactly right. Because we know there are platforms out there that are content rich, but our real strength is enabling those that have that subject matter expertise and they want to create something new themselves. As you were saying before, if you're state schools, departments, or even districts, we've had many conversations about them going and creating curriculum aligned content, and then that can be distributed to across the board. So so that was the interactive 360s, and then the other side in what we call the immersive content is the micro simulation. So this allows you to take a 3D model, similar to the example you just gave, where you might have a 3D model of a tractor. You might be wanting to teach the students what the pieces of the tractor are. So you can bring that 3D model in and allow students to actually do things such as pull that model apart to understand what the components are. You can even create, as the name suggests, a mini simulation. So you might structure it where students have to learn how to use that piece of machinery. And there could be 5 steps that are required to take place in order to safely turn that machinery on and get it running. So in the back end, you can create those types of experiences without any software development skills required. So the scenarios, these really represent like real life role play. So for students that might need to be practicing things like teamwork or even job interview skills, they can actually go into, we've built 13 different 3D environments that range from like a hallway, might have an awkward conversation with someone in the hallway, or it could be an office environment where you're doing a job interview, or it could be an auditorium where you're having to practice public speaking. These are critical skills. Basically unanimously experts around jobs of the future. Those types of skills that are critical. That they're going to be the differentiator for students as they move into the workforce. So that they can practice those types of skills together, regardless of where they are. It actually provides an element of, I think a lot of people dread real life role play.
Oh, they do. Everybody does. And virtual reality is great with that, because I remember sitting in class, whether it was language class, that was one of the things that inspired me to get into virtual reality education, because I hated language role play. Pretend you're the cafe manager and you pretend you're the customer, but if you do that in virtual reality, it's kind of fun because it's an avatar. It changes how you're actually in an environment and not pretending in a classroom. So
that's exactly right. And it's almost like you have a barrier between you, a safety barrier with an avatar or a headset on, that you would otherwise feel more naked, I guess, in a physical room with other people. So you can create any number of role plays that cover all types of difficult conversations, awkward person-to-person interactions, those types of things. And then the final asset type is questions. So multiple choice questions. They can be used and embedded in the learning experiences at any point.
So those questions. So these 4 assets are available to all the educators looking to build out their classroom experience for the semester. So I think for the viewers today that are watching, they probably want to take a look at, like, okay, now I'm an educator. Show me how easy it is.
Yeah, sure, definitely. Once you've got those all those assets in your library, it's just a matter of going into the experience section, and so I'll create a new experience, and you can create 2 different types. Basically, there's sequenced.
Let's do the sequenced, because sequence is always good for especially younger age. Step 1, step 2, step 3.
That's right.
Okay.
So for the individual student who needs to learn some content, that's exactly right. It's a very straightforward step-by-step. So let's call this example sequenced lesson. You could give it a description. As I'm creating this, I might want to keep visibility of this experience private, it's only available in my account. However, I could go and change that here.
And there's the sub-orgs. So like when the New York Department of Education signs up for the entire state, they can share it with all schools, or they can pick the sub-orgs they want to share it with.
That's exactly right.
Perfect.
And then every experience, every asset can have a tag as well. And then so throughout the platform, you can search different assets, experiences as well, just for rapid finding. So this is really where I'm aggregating all the content into my lesson plan. So my library is condensed over on the side here. And I'm just going to add some random bits of content. So there's no logic to what I'm adding here, but for example, let's just add those and maybe 2D image. And you can see as I'm selecting things, this is my experience that's building up on the left here. So let's add some 360 videos. Let's add a couple of micro simulations.
Cool, you're making a big one. I'm gonna be in class for a while on this one.
And then just a couple of questions there as well. So you can see at this point, because it's sequenced now, I might want to change the order of this. So this question you might want to actually come up, say, at this point here. And this question here, the power of the sequence function is that I could then go, well, actually this question is really important. We've got a link here. So you can actually create links between different bits of content as well. So you might go, this question is always asked when we use this slide deck. So we go, okay, here we go. We've got the slide deck. You can go and preview it in the browser here. And go, yep, okay, after slide 8, we need to ask this question. So I'm just going to add that there. So the student after slide 8 gets asked this question.
Now, is the student's data, their login, is that then sent to the back office?
Yep. So there's essentially multiple ways that we capture all this data. So people, we know who did the session, what content they opened and viewed, even in the interactive 360s, which hotspots were interacted with, which questions were answered, which ones they got right and wrong. So that's all captured, and you can access that information within the system here. Or there's a way you can actually just use Facilitate to create content and then export your experiences as SCORM packets into your existing learning management system. And then the way that works is that
so you could create these and export them into the LMSs.
Yep, that's right.
But then if it's in the LMS, how does it then jump into virtual reality? But you can't. You'd have to do it on the PC.
No. So the way it works is that you would schedule the Facilitate experience just like any other learning asset in your LMS. So when the student opens that bit of content, it opens up a little window that gives them the code, and then they put that code into the Facilitate app. Oh,
so then they go into the goggles and they hit the Facilitate app and they type in that code that popped up because that was in the LMS.
Yeah.
Got it. Right. Perfect. Okay.
So in that situation, then the school is using their existing account structure in the LMS. They're using their scheduling functionality in their LMS. And all the data is also then being stored in their LMS as well.
Great.
So that's one option. The other option is that you can use our scheduler, our account system, and then you can actually export the data via XAPI to an LMS as well.
Okay.
And yeah, so there's different options because every school, every organization that we talk to has different needs. So.
Got it.
So yeah, with this question, for example, we can actually then go and insert that in the middle of a 360 video as well. So this one we know is 2 minutes, 13 seconds long. Again, I could go and preview it. And then at say the 43-second mark, insert that question. So the experience for the learner would be they watch 43 seconds, automatically pauses, they get asked this question. So in real time, you can assess when someone's immersed in that environment, have they actually understood what they need to, they answer that, and then the video goes and continues.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can go into that with different assets as well. So this 360, this is a micro simulation. I might want to insert that, or this video is only 12 seconds, probably not the best example. Well, that one's 12 as well. Anyway, we inserted it 4 seconds, if for whatever reason. So you can really have a very defined learning experience. And as you can see, it's very, very simple to structure. And then once we're happy with the content we've created here, go and click next. You can actually add extra materials such as URL links or PDFs, which maybe have got content that are, it's not appropriate perhaps to use in a VR lesson. So it might be more text-based information, supplementary information, that type of thing.
Something to read. And then, okay, yep, got it.
So that the students can then access that before or after their VR lesson. So this is just a summary of what we've gone and created there. I can go back and edit any of this information. And then, yeah, if I go and save that, it becomes a new learning experience that can either be exported or gone and scheduled in our system. And I'll just very, very quickly show you the scheduler. Very straightforward, either a live group session or individual on demand.
Well, the on demand would be where we'd put our sequence thing, because what we just did has no live element to it, right?
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. So, and then with the on-demand ones, we can have the sequence ones, or it could be standard. So the student is just going and exploring content however they like. Typically, you go with the sequenced. And then I just go and select the lesson we want, and then choose the actual learning space that they would go into. So we've got a solo retreat. We've got 4 different more group rooms. This one that can hold 5 learners. This one 24. This one 6, and this one 12 learners.
Great.
So you go and select the space. You invite people. You can add new users at this point, and they receive an email. I could go and click on one of the groups in my organization and then invite people there. Or I could invite no one and just session. I can generate a code, and then you just send that code to people, and then they put that code into the system.
All right.
Yeah. So live group sessions, you set time that's going to take place, just like a Zoom call.
Well, Ben, we're running short on time. I've got to wrap this up here real quick, but I do want our viewers today to see then what a session looks like. So do you have a cast or a video we could look at today?
Yeah, yep, definitely. So
I'm an educator. I've created this lesson and I've scheduled it. It's in the LMS, or I've exported it and as a scoring file to my LMS. It's ready to go. So let's see it.
Yep. So what I'm showing you now is the desktop version of Facilitate. So you can access the sessions either by headset or computer. So session code, that's where you punch in that session code I mentioned before. Individual on-demand sessions available to me now. Open sessions are live group ones I can join. Upcoming ones are live group sessions that aren't open yet, but I can prepare the content, download it, and get it ready to go. So I'll just jump into this one. And this will take us into the virtual classroom. So this is one of those outdoor around the campfire settings that we saw before. I'm just using my mouse to look around, but obviously if I have a headset on, I'd just be looking around. So where the arrows are represent where the students could be placed. I can move around to those spots as well. We find that this environment in particular is really good for collaborative learning, around the virtual campfire, going experiencing the content, debriefing about it afterwards. Very, very powerful.
Great corporate retreat too.
Yeah, that's true. The blue circle represents where the facilitator can stand and basically stand up the front and talk to all the learners. As a facilitator, I can open up any content I like at any point. So I've got a range of things here. Let's move over there. You can see we've got an image that's just popped up on that screen. But yeah, I could be going in and presenting any of these information types. One cool thing that we've actually built for the facilitator as well, it can be a little bit awkward being up the front and going back and forth between the content and the learners. So a little augmented screen that you can pop up there.
Okay, so you can see what's on the screen when you're talking.
That's right, yeah. And you can use markers to highlight certain information as well.
So Ben, is it easier to facilitate from inside the VR or from outside as a teacher?
I think it really depends on the teacher's level of confidence and familiarity with the technology.
Okay.
People that have perhaps, they've used the tech for a little while, they feel, very comfortable in a headset. Others that might want to perhaps refer to notes or aren't fully ready to go into a headset, can just use the desktop, and they've got the exact same functionality there as well. So it's really up to the individual.
So the final question here is, this looks great. This is a school-wide content creator that I could use, every teacher could use, that's part of it. So the most famous question, of course, when we're talking with educators is like, okay, so say I have a school of 500, what am I looking at to be able to run this software for my students?
So it depends on how active they're using the platform, because we basically have tied the pricing to the number of active users in a month.
I see. No, they have to be synchronous active users or just active users altogether totaled?
Just totaled. Yeah. Okay. So of that school of 500 in 1 month, typically you might have 50 people actually go into a lesson in Facilitate. So you may have had 500. All those students have previously used the platform, but in any month, if there are only 50 actually going into a lesson, then you'll be. But
let's play it on the safe side, because let's say I definitely want my 500s. Like let's say in a year, want all my teachers using it in their classes for different things. So let's say, so let's say 200 of that 500.
Yep. So 200. I have to apologize. The American pricing.
Sorry.
Pricing escapes me. I could actually look it up. It'll take me 1 second.
Okay, great. Well, while you're looking that up, I'm just going to say, everybody watching today, I want to thank you for coming in, checking all this out. Facilitate, as you can see, requires no code for you as an educator. You can see that there's a back-end builder that you can put lessons together. It engages your students, especially effective for any type of online programs, virtual programs. This can be used, of course, physically in the space, but I also think it's an amazing tool to just bring students into an environment and through the content. And the great thing is, as you go, you're going to build more content as a school. So Ben, this has been, a great look around, and did you find that pricing?
Yeah, no, I did. So it depends on the number of, the volume, but so 200 active users per month for a year, that's 13,000.
13, did you say? I'm sorry.
Yeah, 13,000.
Yeah, for a year, a school year or 12-month year? Just, this is what I get asked all the time by.
12 months. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. And and so those students, that can change every month. And each of those 200 could also go into multiple sessions as well. So
I mean, so it's basically budgeting as a school around that number, about $65 a student for your school year.
Yep.
So it's less than a textbook, that's for sure. So plus you get to keep building your content as a school. And I think with new technology, it's always hard to conceptualize the price, breaking it down like that. But when you think about the books you have to buy for the students at the K-12 level, where the district buys it, or at the university level where the students end up buying their own, it's a small license fee to come in and be able to have access as educators to the entire back end and build your content up.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And I'm just cheekily trying to sneak in the actual, show you the features before we run out of time. But as you can see, this is the interactive 360. There's a range of what we call hotspots that you can click on.
Move through the environment.
Yep, that's right. So
and when you were building that in the back, so these are basically 360 images, and when you were building the back end, you dropped in those links. So like this image goes I can travel back, or if I wanted to travel somewhere else, I drop those in on that back office builder, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Great.
Um,
Yeah.
And the other one, very quickly, I just wanted to show you was the micro simulation. So I'm just going to use a demonstration of a skeleton model.
Okay.
So this is the 3D model that you bring into the back end. You can either have a sequence step by step, you go through to complete a task of some sort. And if that was the case there, you'd have the steps that you'd be able to view. So you click on one thing, you do that movement, that action, and then it goes to the next step and gives you instructions. This is a free move one, so there's no actual steps to view here. But as the learner, I can really work out where do all these parts go within the body. And so, this is just an example for human biology, but it could be anything. It could be a mechanical part. It could be learning how an engine works. It could be, working out anything. That's important for students to have a better understanding. And then obviously in VR, it's a very powerful experience because they're going up to the skeleton, reaching out and grabbing that organ out. In the desktop version, it's just a matter of using your mouse.
Drag and drop. Yeah. Well, Ben,
you can do this in a synchronized environment as well.
We're out of time today for the event, but I wanted to say thank you. What a great tour. Now, everybody watching, these events happen every 2 weeks in the multiverse, and Facilitate, I think, will soon have a store out here. Here, if you go look behind you, you will see that there's a doorway. And if you're interested as an educator, please put your name in, and we'll be in contact with you to answer questions about your school or your district or your community college. You can see that this has many different uses across the different levels of education. It really is just your no-code content builder where you start populating your library with all your assets, and then your educators can start putting them together and creating experiences that fit into their LMS. So again, what a pleasure, Ben. Good work. Keep up the good work. And if there was one thing you wanted to tell viewers today, all of our multiverse avatars here watching, what would it be? Maybe something about the future, or I don't know, something exciting.
Something about the future. I don't know if I want to venture that forward too far, but yeah, I mean, I guess the message would be, this technology is here and it's ready to be used and ready to scale across all your learning. And it's as you can see, it's very easy to get into. And from a cost perspective, you can always start out small as well and just experiment for a pilot for 12 months and see how it goes, see where it works for your students. Yeah. So thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as VetX, we try to pick and partner with the best in the world for their space. And for the no-code authoring tool with the flexibility and capability, we think facilitates it. So Ben, thanks for your time today. And we will chat some more.
Yeah, great. Thanks a lot, mate.
All right.
Peace. Bye,
Take
everyone.
care. Bye-bye.